What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder channel on Nootropics. Thanks so much for being with me. Going to talk about some Moda OXIRACETAM stacks. It's a really great combo. One of my favorite combos, probably. I've got some stacks to break down for you that I want to show you that work for specific things. All of them really work for focus, motivation, mental energy, endurance, but there's different doses that do different things. I want to break that down for you guys. In the meantime, news on the Viking testosterone protocol. It's upgraded. So I removed the VTP, that's our testosterone protocol for men, from the website to upgrade it. It really factors in enhanced dietary protocols and a lot more nuance to testosterone. It isn't just about trying to raise free and total test. It's about signaling and many other things. So we upgraded the VTP. You can get it at livecortex.com. If you're a guy that needs to raise test, go get the Viking testosterone protocol. If you're a business person and need to perform at 150, 180% and fix any energy or hormonal problems in the meantime, just perform super optimally. Work with me on either a 6-month basis or a 3.5-month basis. We also have a year consult. These are results-driven, hands-on nootropics consults where we basically optimize everything energy-wise, and then really get some good nootropics / research chemicals into fully optimized brain performance. You guys know the drill with the Cortex stack, powerful pre-made nootropic stack. You can find at livecortex.com. That's our flagship stack, ships to about 37 countries. A stack is just awesome for verbal fluency, motivation, mental energy. And those of you that are new to Nootropics Ground Zero is the course for you. I created it for people that are brand new to take you up to the 3-year level. That's the pro level of using nootropics. Okay, so I want to bring the screenshot here. If I can find it, there it is, of some modafinil oxiracetam stacks that really kick butt. All of these stacks help in mental endurance, motivation, background memory, just to varying degrees, right? I combine modafinil with racetams somewhat often. It's just a strategy that I figured out a long time ago you could execute. So you both have modafinil's effects, which are like heavy mental endurance, motivation to do things, focus in some cases, like tackling stuff that you otherwise wouldn't want to tackle, or that's just going to take a long time for you to do that you're not really into doing, or that you can't muster the motivation to do. That's what modafinil is great for. Also really awesome for having a sleep deficit and needing to function that day. It's awesome for a lot of things, actually. So many uses for modafinil. But stacking oxiracetam with it basically brings in oxiracetam's effects, which are memory and additional focus, on top of modafinil, which doesn't necessarily do that. This combo tends to really induce a good solid verbal fluency. It's like you're really firing on all cylinders. It's so simple because it's 2 compounds with your optional choline source, but it's as close to a limitless feeling when you get the doses right as you can get. One of the best formulations for that. So the first stack is 75 milligrams modafinil, 500 of oxiracetam, and then your choline source. This is my personal favorite of all these different options for modafinil and oxiracetam, because modafinil at 75 is just my dose. It's just the best dose. I know exactly how it's going to affect me. I know when it'll wear off, so I know I can take it at 11 in the morning, and by 9, 10 o'clock at night, it'll pretty much be gone. Maybe some melatonin to help me sleep sometimes, because modafinil is a wakefulness promoting nootropic, but it's all worth in the end because you're trying to improve performance. So 75 of Moda, 500 of oxiracetam. You're not taking the oxiracetam dose all the way up. You're kind of medium dosing both of them, frankly. Like, I could dose 150 or 200 of modafinil, but frankly, why? For me, I just don't need that much modafinil to function really awesomely, probably based on my baseline. That's my personal favorite, stack number 1. Number 2 is bumping up the modafinil dose, which I do as well, and you could too. It really depends on like the length of time that you have to work. If I've got to really do some heavy work that needs to be done for 6 or 7 or 8 hours, I'll take the second stack. It's 150 milligrams modafinil, 500 milligrams oxiracetam, optional choline source. Right now, it seems to be jiving best with my brain is just choline bitartrate. That switches. When I take CDP or alpha GPC, I usually have to take coliracetam to foster uptake and to have the choline do what I want it to do. So I've been sticking with choline bitartrate at least for now. That second stack is just a more intense version of the first stack, like 6, 7 hours, 8 hours, performance-driven work. like total wakefulness and then also memory and focus optimization at the same time. Very cool combination. Then there's 100 milligrams of modafinil, an entire gram of oxiracetam, and a choline source, your optional choline source. That's a good sweet spot dose, 100 milligrams of modafinil, for a lot of people. You know, like a lot of folks are going to find whether it's the best utility or at least some utility out of that dose. And that way you end up saving modafinil. But a gram of oxiracetam, that stack, I can take that and it really makes me for about 2 hours like really, really hyped up. And there's some things that I need to do where I actually need to be in that state that help me to be in that state. Like gaming is a great example. But this also applies to people that's dose on racetam has to be higher for whatever reason. Choline signaling, the necessity for higher doses of racetam's, inhibition or dysregulation of choline signaling from other medications and stuff that they might be taking. Plenty of people are taking plenty of pharma drugs and it's fussing with choline signaling. So that stack might be great for that particular person. Then there's 2 microdose options, and I do this every now and then as well. Usually when I have slept extremely well, and like I've just done everything right in my diet and sleep and otherwise supplement regimen in the past, 3-4 days. Like it's like sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I willfully make mistakes. And when I don't do that and everything is like perfect the way that it needs to be for me to feel, because I know what it takes for me to feel really, really good. And you should know that too. And you should strive to kind of do that as much as you can. In those states, microdosing modafinil and oxiracetam actually adds a really nice touch above baseline. That is noticeable. It's not some subtle thing. I certainly feel functional. I'm like, oh man, let me just knock out 3-4 hours of work. Don't need to knock out 10 hours of work. Don't need to stay in front of my laptop and not take pee breaks. I just need to get a couple hours of stuff done, and I need to be hyper-focused in that time. 35 milligrams modafinil, 300 milligrams oxiracetam, optional choline source. And then you sort of switch the stack around. You bump up the modafinil a tad and reduce the oxiracetam a tad. 50 milligrams modafinil, this is the bottom stack now. 250 milligrams oxiracetam, optional choline source. I usually do require choline sources with modafinil plus racetams. I mean, there are plenty of times, depending on other factors, mostly my diet and my sleep in some cases, where I do not require racetams or choline sources with racetams. It all depends, and you got to kind of be aware of when you need it, when you don't need it. It's not a static thing. At least it isn't for me and a lot of folks that I work with. But in these cases, I need to take choline. And again, I'm using choline bitartrate. Even on the lower dose one, it just seems to help the stack jive better and function better, okay? So all of these stacks help in mental endurance, motivation, background memory. They just do it to varying degrees. 4 or 5 hours of work, motivation, focus. I'd say go with the first one, 75 of Moda, 500 of oxiracetam. If you need to up the time that you're spending focusing, take the second stack, 150 of Moda, 500 of oxiracetam. And if you absolutely need to be a beast for a couple hours, but then have the tail end of that be really, really functional for many, many hours to come, go with 100 milligrams modafinil and a gram of oxiracetam. Again, your optional choline source. If you've done really, because people should know, like when they've done everything right and they actually wake up feeling amazing and they eat breakfast or drink coffee, whatever it is you do in the morning, you're like, you know what, today I just like feel like I have the jump on things. Maybe you went to the gym, you're just like in that state. You may not need as much modafinil and oxiracetam, and microdosing is actually a good option. It's also a good option for people that do not respond to higher doses. Makes them anxious, brings side effects no matter what you do. Usually that's like accompanied with other conditions they might have or just their basic neurochemical makeup. But microdosing should not be underestimated. It's a very, very cool way to take nootropics that gives you noticeable effects, but that is sustainable and that isn't like a super high dose, won't keep you up, certainly won't disrupt your sleep if you're doing any of these microdose options at the bottom, okay? So I've talked about modafinil, oxiracetam stacks before. Just Moda racetam stacks in general are radical, man, for improving general performance and everything that modafinil does, and then bringing in that memory focus, laser focus, processing speed, processing adeptness in. That's what racetams do to me. So that's what we got. Screenshot that. Try some of those stacks. Start with those templates, I would say, so long as you understand your responses to all those chemicals. And those doses are okay, and then adjust if you need to. Remember, in small increments and in one chemical at a time. Thanks so much for being with me, guys. Remember, VTP upgraded the Viking testosterone protocol. I can't promise you'll look like this guy, but you might. He kind of looks like me, or I kind of look like him. But the VTP is just, it includes more nuanced dietary strategy and a lot more nuanced protocols for raising test and for optimizing testosterone signaling. I ran into some guys that what we were doing, mostly everybody, the old VTP, it just rocked their world. But then there were people with signaling issues, so I had to upgrade it for that. Upgraded at livecortex.com. Guys, remember Cortex Stack. If you want a nootropic stack that's just powerful mental energy, powerful motivation, powerful focus, the will to do work, get the Cortex Stack, do it at livecortex.com. Probably a better deal is the Cortex Double Stack, which gets you 2 bottles of Cortex at $24 each. Do that at livecortex.com. If you're new to Nootropics Ground Zero, groundbreaking course of me. It's a video course where I show you from the ground up how to properly use nootropics. Like if you're new, hands down, you got to get that product. Do it at livecortex.com. And then again, if you're a business person and want to perform at 180% and get, double or triple the to-do list done, you want to fix hormonal problems, really fully optimize baseline energy, basically have me work with you to do all that. Either get the gold package 3.5 months. You're with me for 3.5 months of consulting, and God, we will make your brain perform incredible. Or if you got the budget, the 6-month intensive gives us more time to spend together to solidify what we've done. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Talk to you soon.